Hey, yo, we snapping, dog. Snap,
Nah,
snap.
it's cool. Don't worry. I'll just tweak that. You know what I'm
You
saying?
know what I'm saying? Whoa, hey, yo. You on one. You see, you always want to wait. You know what I'm saying? You catch it right
when
in
the camera's
in the
on,
tuck.
I'm
literally.
on. You know what I'm saying? Let's
Nah.
go.
But, big energy. You got that fire red on.
Hey.
It's more like, what would you call that?
This?
Because it's like red, but it's like.
It's a little, you know what I'm saying? It got a little hot pink
iridescent.
Yeah. Nah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's definitely popping. It's
Floating the fluorescent.
It's up against the blue, not the black, so it gives it a little bit more of that character. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely still sound like a robot, but you know.
You don't sound like a robot to me, Phree. You're a real boy. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? I try. I try to keep it swinging a little to the left. You feel me? You know what I'm saying?
You send me swinging. Everything is a music reference in my head. I just want to give y'all a heads up about that. So,
and everything is a curve to me.
Every time
or needs
you
one, whichever.
You might say something to me and you see this expression go across my face and it's not even really what you said. It's just the
it's the Aquarian,
the hip hop culture inside my head turning the words that you just said into a song reference, and it takes a lot sometimes to suppress that.
Yeah.
If you get me in the right mood, I will definitely sing everything that you say back to you in the form of a song that I've heard before.
I welcome that. That's beautiful. That makes it
makes life interesting.
Somebody told me, right? So in dating and getting to know folks.
Oh boy.
In getting to know folks is like, little challenges. And so one of the things you agree on, right? It's like one of the things that was suggested in the agreements was to sing your frustration.
Sing your frustration?
Yes. Like.
Oh boy.
This is how folks is resolving conflict these days. Why don't you just sing it to me?
Are these people singers?
It doesn't even matter, dog. It's the point.
Because if I sing my frustration, I feel like somebody's feelings gonna get hurt. I don't think you want that.
Listen, I was like, so what you just said the other day, maybe 2 days ago, yesterday, I was on the phone and we're going back and forth, and I'm like, I started singing.
Hey, yo.
It didn't go down too well is the point.
No.
You see how that be? They'll be suggesting solutions. Like, here's what I need you to do. I need you to sing it to me.
Lord Jesus.
And then I can hear you. And then I sing it to them and they like, hell no, don't ever do that shit.
Hell no. What was it? Was that a trap song you just
They was like offended. I was like, yo, see, this the problem. This is the problem out here in the world. It's just like, you say you want it until you get it, and then you don't want it no more. You feel me? Like, that's really the tea.
Wow.
That's really the tea. And y'all know out there, y'all be playing, but when you look in the mirror, you be that person. You ain't never like dated somebody that you was interested in for, like, say you had a crush for a long time, and then you get with them and you're like, fuck, I don't even.
This is the problem. This is the problem with putting people on pedestals. Because once you dehumanize someone and you turn them into an object.
Come on, say that.
Whether it be a sexual object or some kind of like emotional ideal or some kind of like bigger than life figure. Once you encounter their real, it breaks the fantasy, which then breaks the spell.
Fantasy. And some people just live in fantasy.
That's why
they like the fantasy.
That's why it's important to get to know who people authentically, who they really are. Because then when people show up authentically as themselves, you won't be offended. You'll be like, oh yes, this is you. I knew this.
How about people just show up authentically? You know what I'm saying?
It's hard to do.
But you just like, I wish there was a world, a utopia.
Utopia.
You know what I'm saying? Where like folks was just, hey, nice to meet you. You know what I'm saying? I got 10 kids.
Hey, yo.
I'm polyamorous. I enjoy multiple energies. I like the multiple people. And this is just what you're going to get into. Nice to meet you. And I say that very like simplistically. Not that I think it is anybody's obligation to share your sexual stuff with anybody if you don't want to.
Particularly when you're just meeting them.
It was an example.
Right.
Key, play, but not for real. Like,
Yeah.
also, give people a choice. You know what I'm saying? Don't
Facts.
bamboozling me.
No bamboozling.
If you want to have multiple people that fly you out and go to different places in life, and that's just how you want to live your life, you should be able to do that shit. I really believe that. Own it, baby. But give me the goddamn opportunity, right, to be like, yeah, no.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know how we got there, but that's perfect about relationships. And right into this made me. We just pulled up. We just drove over here, and
Just got here.
we passed a gas station, and this is what made me think of this first point.
Mm-hmm.
And when you pulled in the gas station, I immediately thought about how I wouldn't get out the car to pump your gas.
Huh.
Right. I'm such an asshole. Like, why wouldn't I get out the car to pump his gas? You know what I'm saying? And then it went down a rabbit hole, because then I was like, well, damn, but I would get out and pump any. This is crazy, but it's real. It's authentic. I would get out and pump any woman's gas that I'm in the passenger seat of.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what I do. And when I think about all the men identified folks out there that I've been in the passenger seat of, I don't think I've ever gotten out to pump their gas.
No,
It's just like, you pump your own gas.
Yeah.
But if it was a woman, I would get out or pump the gas. You know what I'm saying? So they ain't got to get out the car. And then that led me down a whole thing about gender roles.
Yeah, that's not really something that it's definitely a subconscious thing, right? Because like, it's not like, that's dope that you thought of it consciously today, right? But like with a lot of things, like, oh, which side of the sidewalk do you walk on? Or
yeah, man.
Who opens the door? A lot of this stuff, for many of us, right, is not even a conscious decision. It's just, this is what we do. This is the way it is. This is the expectation. I think I could think of maybe a circumstance where you might offer to pump my gas, but again, it would be a special circumstance. It wouldn't just be in the normal course of life.
Like if you, I would pump
like
your gas.
If I was driving us and one of my
if you couldn't get up and you couldn't,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
or you was on a call and, you know what I'm saying, to disrupt. If it was to help you in a way that would prevent you from being able to do it yourself, I would do it.
Right.
But if you were able and willing to do it yourself, I'm not getting in a car. But like,
pump the gas.
if I'm in a car with a woman and they are able and willing to, and that's the thing, right? So like, even at a young age, this idea of chivalry, like, and it's more so, maybe I need to bring more queer identified folks on the podcast to have this conversation around, particularly masculine centered folks. Because like growing up, I wanted to be that like gentleman, chivalrous, like lay, not very 90s R&B. Lay my jacket over a puddle for you to walk over.
Shout out to 90s R&B.
Shout out to 90s R&B.
Videos in the rain or the desert or both.
With the chest out.
The Reach.
Cisco. That's early 2000s, but you know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
The ooh yeah.
Yeah.
90s R&B. Classic
Boys
shit.
to Men.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? 112.
The wow. Hey. What you talking about?
I need to take a pause because if you know me, you know how lost I be getting in
That
those.
was a moment.
Yeah. So, with that being said, why the hell don't I pump your I'm going to pump your gas the next time I'm going to get out.
I will not protest.
Like, just putting the nozzle to... Anyway, so back what I was saying. When I was putting the nozzle was crazy, but what I was saying is that back in the day when I was younger...
I'm speechless. Hold on.
Come on. I have to land the plane. My ADD is kicking in, elemental P, and I'm losing it. I got to stay focused, y'all. Follow me, camera. Follow me. Gender roles, goddamn it. What the fuck?
Okay.
Shit. All I'm saying is, fuck. I really want to have a conversation about these concepts, like collectively, and we really should be talking about it because, fuck. Like, wait, this is not, you know what? We need to pause. We need to take a time out. We apologize. I apologize. Let's rewind the tape and play this back again and pretend like we ain't whole here. You are at the Phree Game Podcast.
Free game.
If this is your first time here, I'm sorry and welcome at the same time.
You don't know what you got into, but strap in. It's a ride. You know what I'm saying?
Strap in is crazy. Also, but please stay a while and keep
today.
it. Because like politics, you feel me? But that's another conversation. Peace to everybody. Welcome. Much gratitude. If this is your first time, thank you for being here. I don't know how you got here, but however it was, I'm blessed to have you and thanking God that you have journeyed to us, with us in community, and together. So shout out to you for listening. And we welcome your feedback. Please drop it in the comments. Please, if you like us, subscribe. If you don't subscribe, if you don't like us, don't hit the don't like button. If you don't like us, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get where I'm going with this. But on some real stuff. I love you. I appreciate you. For everybody that is tuning in, pod for pod, love is just what I have to say to you. And for continuing to rock with us on this journey. Man, we got so much. It's been, for us, it seems like a lot of time has passed because we have worked, consistently and compassionately and also passionately to behind the scenes to do this podcast. And it seems like for me and for us that we have been potting for a long year. It's almost coming up to a year pretty soon. And y'all don't know that really. Y'all really don't know how long we've been trying to work on this. We don't give too much out yet because we want to be intentional. We want to be authentic. We don't want to be frivolous and mindless about the content that we putting out. A lot of what we talk about on this podcast is really heavy, but impactful, right? Because anything that needs disruption is going to come with a little bit of fire, a little bit of provocativeness, a little challenge in our perspectives, in the way that we see things, and like gentleness at the same time, right? And like the ways that we exhibit that with each other behind the scenes, I'm sure you'll be able to see as we share the journey with you, and as we are intentional in where we place our conversations and our growth moments that have happened live on this live, meaning like in real time while the cameras are rolling. We have had really, really challenging moments that we want to share, but want to be mindful of how we're sharing that in such a sensitive time in the world. And though being playful, being, laughter and joy is at the forefront of, everything I want to do and push forward, and the energy that I want to embody. With that, there's balance. There's hard times and hard things that we need to discuss, but doing it in sensitivity, and with consideration. So thank you for taking this journey with us. Thank you for being patient as we get these episodes out to you. We hope that you stay locked in to watch us grow and how we have come thus far, and how we're going to keep pushing it forward and being intentional about how we utilize this space, this platform, and the people that work with us. That is at the forefront of my priority. That's the top of my priority list, is really utilizing the space for, productivity and goodness and intentionality and purpose. So bear with us. We working it out. In terms of, what we're delivering to you. Again, you're at the Free Game Podcast. My name is Phree. Every podcast I am joined every week for us. I have the pleasure of working, hand in hand with my man Stan. No, my man. Sorry,
Stan.
just my man to my right, Sir JG.
What up, though?
We keep it cute and keep it gully and keep it gangster. You
All
know
of
what
those.
I mean? And
We're diverse.
We like that. We like keeping it colorful.
Multifaceted.
Look at that. You saw that? That should have been like a TikTok video or something.
Could be.
When I tell you to like answer a question and you got to say the word, the answer to the question to see like if they match or if you what you said.
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so what's up, y'all? Pew, 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 pew. Pardon or don't. My socks and my flip-flops.
Socks and flops.
I feel comfortable in this particular moment, and that's how I felt like continuing to be on the outside was a reflection of how I feel on the inside. So my flip-flops are a little worn and, not white anymore. And my socks have cat hair all over them. I love that. Shout out to King. If you know, my cat is really dope and hairy. Wow. That's not. What the fuck?
What was that?
Edit that out. Cut. Fuck. It's not even true. No, so okay.
Oh wow.
But my socks. The fuck. Listen, y'all. I am delusional. It has been quite a week.
There might be some sleep deprivation going on. There might be some emotional overtaxing going on.
Listen, it has been quite the week. And first and foremost, I know we started this pod, how we started it. But I need y'all to pause for 3 seconds. That was more like 6 or 7 or 8 because I think it's necessary. I would have went for about 30. But this is a podcast, and so I don't want to leave y'all on hang too long. However, rest in peace to my man, to my poetry brother, Lucci. Listening, understanding, caring, considering, inquiring is what L.U.C.C.I stands for. As L.U.C.C.I, L.U.C.C.I is an acronym, but was also his name. I don't even know what to say right now on the podcast or how to, it's really still new. So, even when the break, right? So we took a week off since everything happened, and coming back to pod today, I still am at a loss for words. It's still not easy to come off my tongue. It is still not something that seems tangible or real or and maybe that's because we haven't been able to lay him to rest yet, right? Like,
that's a big.
I don't know when y'all gonna see this, but if y'all see this before the GoFundMe stops and before the services, which I'm banking on that you will, please go support if you can. There's a GoFundMe out right now. If you can feel it, you can speak it. Instagram, feel it, speak it at Feel It Speak It on Instagram has the link in the bio. Please go click the link. $5, $1, $20, whatever you can spare. A little is a lot when you total it all up. So let's be able to put him to rest, respectfully and in a way that he deserved.
Yeah.
My lack of words on delivering, right, the news or saying it out loud is one thing. And then there are an abundance of words that I want to say need to be said, have been said, need to be reiterated,
need to be amplified.
Need to be amplified. Even so, I think not just myself, but I think that there are many of us out here that are in a place of needing to bridge the gaps between like minds and like hearts. And, you know, there's a fire, right? There's a burning desire I've been hearing consistently in the conversations I've been having with people to be boisterous, be motivated, be, you know, some people can't put a finger on it, but they're like, yo, Phree, it's in my feet, it's in my throat, like I just activate, you know what I'm saying? It's time to activate. There is a surge happening right now. I've been speaking about it to a number of people about the undercurrent that I've been feeling for a long time, and just like there needing to be a shift, there needing to be a disruption, there needs to be a dismantling in this, you know, and I say all that to say because, you know, losing L.U.C.C.I is like it's much bigger than just the idea of like, yeah, Phree, I mean everybody gonna die, like everybody's gonna be gone, everybody got a clock out date, everybody got a it's so much bigger than that. Like, of course I understand transitions and this duality of life and death, and that you're only guaranteed two things in this life, and that's change and death, right? Like we have this understanding, and even with that, right, like there is something that we must do. There is go ahead. Something that must be something was activated in this moment.
I think there's
me.
I think there's a beauty in the way that you phrase it, that balance, right? The duality, because, you know, if you think of it in terms of life and death, some people think of it in terms of presence and absence, and how sometimes you need the opposite to appreciate the thing.
Your presence and absence to me means something different, right? Because in death, there's still a presence.
Right.
It doesn't eliminate the presence. It actually makes it more profound. It makes it more, you're closer to the person in death than you are sometimes in life, right? When we speak of the living and breathing. Yeah.
And I think that's why some people say it that way, because it is more ambiguous, right? Like this idea of presence and absence, sometimes we think of people's presence as when they're physically present with us, but there is a spiritual presence, there's a presence in memory, there's a presence in consciousness,
legacy
that transcends that physical presence, right? And sometimes a physical absence will bring someone even more presently to your mind, right?
I mean, we talk about it all the time, where people's impact on the world doesn't happen until they die. People aren't seen until they die. People aren't acknowledged and represented and spoken for and, you know, given their flowers until they die. We literally put flowers in people's caskets when we put them in the ground. We literally throw them into the grave. Into the grave. Like literally. And we need to do better at showing up, right? Like L.U.C.C.I for me, Art Without Ego. Y'all are familiar. He ran an Art Without Ego platform. And on that platform, he never showed his face. Ever. And even on the one that I did with him, there was a part of it where I wanted to see his face. Like, I even called him beforehand and I was like, is it okay that I ask you to come on camera during the podcast? Because I don't want to like make it weird live while everybody's watching, but I want to ask you. He's like, yeah, but respectfully, I don't want to show my face. Like, I that's not what I want to do. Maybe I'll come on your podcast and we can do that. And, you know, but for this particular platform, it was all about the artist, the person he was talking to. He never wanted to take away from the person that he was speaking to, and instead use that space to give people their flowers, to tell them personally what he admired and was inspired by personally. He gave that opportunity to, you know, all of us. There's so many. You can go on Art Without Ego right now on Instagram and scroll down. You looking for artists in Boston, they're on his
whole list.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you could pull anybody up. And he was intentional about that conversation. And he made sure that he gave you a gift, right? To see yourself, a mirror, you know, in light and love. And at the same time, this is the same community that I feel, or he didn't feel, he deserved to be a part of.
Which is wild.
And not that he said that to me particularly, so yeah, I don't go quote with me that he told me X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But within the manner or the manner in which the situation happened, we can assume, we can get the essence of where he could have been at that time, in his mind, in his heart, in his body, in his energy. Yeah. And one of those things I took from it was that he did not feel deserving of space, of community, to be a part of us. He did not want to harm anybody. You know, he didn't want to put his pain, or felt like he was burdening anybody with his pain. And so he, you know what I'm saying, like, poured into everybody else instead, right? Like, and I think there's power in, you know, these stories or these memories that we have of him and that we share is what legacy is to me, right? Like, the impact that he had, even when it is felt only in his absence now, right? On a larger scale. That is the legacy. You know what I'm saying? And what do we do with that? Because it can't be in vain. And like, you know, I'm not sure. I think I don't want to go off on a tangent. I think there's a bigger conversation here about community and what that means. And there's a bigger conversation about, you know, what do we do as leaders in the community, or organizers in the community, or elders in the community, or, you know, artists that, you know, pay their bills with this city's money, get supported by the city, you know what I'm saying, take up space in the city, like, you know what I'm saying, like, I feel there's a responsibility that I have to said community, you know, and pouring into community in a way that I've taken, or received rather, right?
Received, yes.
And constantly I'm looking at people being harmed by the city, being harmed by community, being outcasted, being blocked, being, you know, ostracized, being, you know, just so many people having to leave this city because of said blocks. And there's just no, like, there's nowhere to go. And once you want out, you want out. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to survive that. And a lot of people have to leave to survive. And that breaks my heart. I'm from Boston, born and raised in Boston, Roxbury gang. You know what I'm saying? And I, too, understand the notion of, yo, I got to get out of here. Because I feel it all the time. And it messes with me. It messes with my psyche because I really love this city for real. I am an artist that has, you know what I'm saying, paid my bills off of like spaces in the city. And I feel I do owe this city some servitude, you know? And in that servitude, I think that I'm trying to understand my purpose and my time and my place and how we connect, offer space, build, really do the work. When we say, oh, there's no safe spaces, we're doing the work to guarantee or to towards safety. We're a working space. What does that mean for real? What is the work that we're doing? What are we providing to the community? And not just entertainment, right? Like that's one thing, but like also what's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I encourage right there. I feel there is a time right now of urgency and passion and fire that is necessary. That people are tired of being silent. People are tired of, holding back. People are seeing their truth and wanting to stand in it, in authenticity. There's people that were afraid, right, to be authentic,
afraid to rock the boat, afraid to
and not right. They don't want to step on,
speak up against the prevailing winds,
walking on eggshells, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's coming a time where people are just tired and they really just want to be and really heal for real and really have peace and be around people that are aligned on that frequency, because we understand what's happening. We understand the shift. We understand that this is a troubled time. However, it is a time where we need each other more than ever. We need each other to activate more than ever. People think that everybody's supposed to be a leader. Y'all people that can't lead, sit down or go find something else to work on to help us move the boat. We
talk about this all the time.
There's too many people trying to lead. If you're not a leader, if that's not what you're called upon to do, it's okay to pick up another shift doing something else.
Even if you are a leader in a certain context, that doesn't make you a leader in every context.
Not in all contexts. Like not in all situations, not in all, like when there's all I'm saying is I'm not trying to take away from or disregard anybody in how they feel they are a leader. I'm not trying to degrade you. What I'm saying is that the people that have the fire in their throat to lead, and that are really operating from intention and purpose and not capitalism, politics, hush hush culture, but like people that are like, understand that in order to create change, we have to be truthful. In order to create change, there has to be an uprising. In order to create change, we have to dismantle what has been built in this city and what we accept and what we don't accept and what is accountability and what does community accountability really look like. And these are all questions that can't be ignored, because the fact of the matter is all of those are weak points when we talk about the care and concern for artists and people in general, but in particular artists, because artists are the ones that are literally pouring publicly our trauma and pain out in the world. Like we see each other, we know that we're going through some things, and we'll be the first to turn our back. We'll be the first to be like, that's too messy, see you later, I'm gone. But praise people when they're doing well and when they're doing great and they're look like they got money and they look like they're doing all these great things. It's like, oh yeah, great job, I saw you on social media, it's awesome. But you know nothing about what's happening in my home. You know nothing about what's really true to inside of me. And that's where we fuck up at. This taking aside, this if you don't fuck with me, then we don't fuck with this person and that person that fuck with you. Like, that it's weird, dog. Y'all ain't tired. Y'all ain't tired, dog.
I think
for keeping up the fucking the character plays and y'all ain't tired.
I think we have an opportunity to shift.
There needs to be a shift.
Even as we're all grieving in our own ways, together, not together, whatever, right? Around this singular event, We have an opportunity to examine the way that we've been living. We have an opportunity to examine the way that we've been treating each other. And like, I'm not talking about we all got to be friends. We all got to be buddy, but we don't even all have to work together. But we do all have to live here. We all have to breathe the air. We all have to drink the water. We all have to eat the food. And so let's not contaminate the air. Let's not contaminate the water supply. Let's not contaminate the food supply. And honestly, if you see one of your fellow creatives or any fellow human being drowning, calling out for help, help them or get help for them. It's really just very, very simple, right? Like, this idea that people don't deserve to be who they are, express who they are. People don't deserve to be forgiven for harm that they've done. People don't deserve to rise above their circumstances. People don't deserve to make peace with their past and create a better future is crazy to me. We all, each and every one of us, have done things that we've regretted, said things that we've regretted. We, each and all of us, have come back from a struggle of some sort. I don't know anyone that hasn't struggled with something, right? And like, to deny someone their humanity because of something that they've done in the past, particularly if they've worked to repair that, if they've worked to become a better person, if we all recognize that we're all in process, that we're all human beings that are fallible and capable of making mistakes and also capable of redemption, you're selling yourself and everybody else short. If you dedicate time and energy to trying to hold people down who are on the same mission, on the same path, on the same journey that you're on, it's not good for you. It's not good for the community. It's not good for the air. It's not good for the water supply. It's not good for the food supply. So we got to cut that shit out. Like, it doesn't make any sense that a city as packed with talent, with potential, and honestly with money as Boston, that people who are creatives in the city can't all eat. People that are creatives in this city can't all find space to be who we are, to create the most wonderful things that are being channeled from the universe through our bodies, through our minds, through our spirits, through our souls. The people are being discouraged in a way from being their best selves because they're afraid of backlash for being too loud, being too seen, being too contrary to what this person who seems to hold the purse strings thinks. It's a crazy situation to me that we're oppressing ourselves. Why? Just fucking stop it.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I just feel exhausted with, like, feel like I just been repeating myself. I just been
shouting into the wind.
You know what I'm saying? And like, there's only so much talking you could do. Like, I thought, it's a great podcast. This podcast is awesome. This is amazing. But like,
thanks for the compliment, Phree.
It's fucking awesome.
We appreciate you.
But I'm just like, I'm tired of talking about this shit.
Yeah, what are we going to do?
What are we going to do about this shit?
What are we going to fucking do?
It takes groundwork. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And yes, that's why this podcast is necessary, right? Because now, what do we do with the space and the place and the opportunity that we have here, right? We got to bring people on in position to talk about these things that have common knowledge and sense. Or not common knowledge, but common sense, first of all. Second of all, just leverage on knowledge around real topics that they can actually educate us about these things. We are hurting and hurt people that are trying to survive. And some of us understand the ways that we have survived this thing was harmful. It's okay, y'all. But then when you acknowledge that, there's a due diligence. I love that word. To behaving better.
Yes.
To making different decisions. You know what I'm saying? So, rehabilitation is important. However, with rehabilitation, you need help. You can't expect someone that's been living an entire life one particular way to wake up and be like, oh, okay,
This is what I'm
I
saying.
changed today. No. Do you know how long it takes to undo? Years and years,
right.
decades and decades of like a behavior
And you can't do
that you didn't even know that was wrong.
You can't do that without support. There's just no way.
You can't do it alone. And yes, isolation is a damn thing. You need it spiritually. You need it personally. When you need to sit down, sit down. You need those things. But in terms of knowledge, in terms of guidance and leading someone, yes, there's part of that where that's part of your due diligence is to do the work, find out the information. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't let people throw words at you. If you don't understand what's being said and they don't feel like teaching you, well, I mean, I don't know about Google because of Google AI these days. I don't know what they're going to tell you to do.
Oh, God.
But what kind of message they're going to push.
Good Lord.
Yeah, depending on the question you ask. Or
how you ask the question.
What I'm saying is, though, is that's even why, to my point, is that we need people that actually know what's happening. Because if I'm out there Googling whatever word you're, misogynist, and I'm like, no, I love women. I don't have a disdain for women. Because Google says that's the definition.
Right. There's no nuance to that.
What does that mean in real life?
Right, yeah,
Somebody has to come say, hey, yo, listen, here's what can't happen, because this is what's happening while you're doing this. This is what's happening when this happens. This is what the effect of what you are doing. Somebody has to be able to call it out, put it on freaking ice, but also take care of it in terms of maybe that's boundaries where I'm not in your life all the time, or I can't. You can lead a horse to water and you can't force him to drink. So if the person's unwilling, to do the work, to gain the knowledge, to be better, to make better choices, like you can't dispose of people, man. You just can't, man. You can't. And so many people, and it's not just in this passing that I'm experiencing this, but you see it all the time.
Keeps happening.
Where like somebody will pass, no matter the cause, just pass, and people will come out of the freaking Twilight Zone.
The woodwork, the floorboards,
the gravel.
Yeah.
About how much they loved and how much their relationship was. They'll start sharing pictures from 25 years ago.
Right.
Like, this was the first time. This was when we did this together 25 years ago. And it's like, and I'm not, again, no shade, because you should be able to connect in that moment and grieve how you need to grieve. So if that means that you're pulling up pictures from the past from 20 years ago to be like, oh, wow, like I want to lay that to rest, fine. But I'm just tired of hearing it. Like, who's the love of my life? Oh my gosh, like I can't believe, I'm devastated. We didn't end up on, good terms. Things have been a little, and I respect that because we all have our shit. But like, if it can be worked through and moved through, like we need to be able to do that. And if two people can't do it on their own, and there's other people that are seeing or witnessing or experiencing, why can't we step in? Sit down. Let's have a conversation. Can this be resolved? Can we heal? How can we move in community where people don't feel like they're exiled, that they can't do, that they can't, be in space?
And it's vital that we create spaces where people feel comfortable asking for help when they can't do for themselves. Because the amount of shame that people feel, some of that is internal, but that's not the whole story. We shame people. We shame people for perceived weakness. We shame people for admitting wrongdoing sometimes. Someone would be like, yo, I really messed up. This is what happened, blah, blah, blah. And that's the end of the story. Someone comes and offers a sincere confession, apology, and a desire to do better. And our option is to just be like, well, you're cut off. That's the end. That's the end of you. I don't feel that doesn't sit with me.
I want to reiterate though. I want to reiterate that if space is necessary because you was harmed by said person, I'm not saying that you're not right in making the decision to create space or boundaries around someone,
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like, and all I'm going to say, and I'm not judging nobody how they manage their relationships, but what I am saying is that compassion, empathy goes a long way. And we're all going through things. We're all learning and healing and needing to heal people, especially if you are a person of color. We are unbreaking chains that are like beyond us and beyond our moms and dads and beyond. Like, this is bigger than these symptoms. I call them symptoms. These things that arise that are like, hey, red flag, something's going to alarm on right here. Alarm. This needs to be looked at. And we just bypass the alarms and think that them cycles ain't going, that them cycles are going to change on their own, or they're not going to repeat themselves, or you just looking for, you praying to this part of prayer, right, where like you got to do your part. You pray for it for sure, but if God like, okay,
faith without works is dead. Period. Yeah, and no, that's a very, very good point that you're making. Individual forgiveness for when you've been wronged, when you've been harmed, is in a time and a space, and isolation is often very, very appropriate, right? But speaking just from a community level, right, when knowing that someone in the community has harmed someone else in the community, or there's been mutual harm or whatever, figuring out how people are going to come back to community should be a discussion, should be a process. Shouldn't be a foregone conclusion that, well, this person is out of here. We don't owe them any blah, blah, because the funny way that this works is, while the harm was going on, before you knew there was harm, they were part of the community. Which means what? This was happening on your watch. Not that you have direct responsibility for it, but if we're truly holding each other in community and holding each other accountable, we also have to hold ourselves accountable in a way for the things that we miss, for the things that we don't see happening, for when someone in our community is being harmed right in front of our faces, under our noses, and we don't pick up on that.
Or we pick up on it and we turn our
come on
head like we don't see it happening. Or like, nah, I see it, but I ain't finna say nothing because I want the likeness of said person. I want what the person provides to me. You know, if it's monetary, if it's opportunity, you know what I'm saying? If you in a high enough position in this community, you know what I'm saying? You get a lot of say-so in how things are run. You know what I'm saying? You get, if you're curating for 80 different organizations, all them organizations are, one, going to look the same, and two, it's going to have the same principles and morals because it's run by the same person. I'm just saying that we got to do better as a people. And if you're an organizer, I think we need to do, you know, there's a responsibility that we have on doing our freaking research and our homework. And
your favorite word, due diligence.
And I'm not saying we could prevent things from happening. What I'm saying is that we should be doing work on a consistent and consecutive basis so that we are building to a space that is like, or a place that is like, okay, I can fuck up and make a mistake, and I know that I'm still going to be held. And then I could do great, and I'm going to still be held by the same people. And how impactful that is, right? Because now I feel like, wow, I could just be honest and open and real. I don't have to be like hiding and, you know, going through the dark by myself. I feel like I actually can just be like, hey guys, I'm not doing well, and know that somebody will, you know, whatever that means. And I'm not saying cuddle, we hanging out and being buddy best friends, but like, you know, space, it goes a long way. Giving someone space, taking the time to listen, saying, you know, how helping find a resource for someone, right? Like, not assuming that a person knows where to go or how to get there, right? Like, barking orders at people or criticizing people or being like, that was wrong, you need to fix that, but not offering a tool for that person to fix that mistake. clearly they made the mistake because they were lacking the tool. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get where I'm going with this? So if I have the tool and I know that you're lacking a tool that I may have that could help you fix this thing that's harmful to yourself or somebody else, I should give that to you. That's community. That's tribe.
So if I can,
if I got fish,
you're preaching right
now. If I got fish, and we on an island, and you got a flint, guess what?
We gonna work together to make this.
We gonna eat.
Right. I wanna step back into one thing that you said, with people turning a blind eye because someone has power, someone has influence. Listen, I don't want to give comfort to anyone who's using their power to harm people that are less powerful than them. And that goes for adults that are harming kids, men that are harming women. We could go through all the categories, right? And part of what accountability looks like is us as a community listening to folks who have been harmed when they've been harmed and not dismissing it out of hand based on some arbitrary idea of who's credible and who's not.
Ooh, credibility.
Right? And due diligence goes in every direction, because when we hear a story, you immediately have a bias that makes you want to lean one way or the other. Oh, who's telling the truth? Who's not telling the truth? Right? But through investigation, through further consideration, we might actually get to the full and true accounting of what happened. Right? And like, man, it tears me up that there are so many folks who get victimized by the same people because of light or false accountability. I don't like that. But
that's gonna bridge us to another point, that we are so, especially as a people of color, are against this, prison complex.
Talk about it.
Industry. But how punitive we are with each other. How we do what we fight against when we talk about the quote unquote justice system. We take it into our own hands to become the justice system. You know what I'm saying? In terms of when we are taking money out of people's pockets, telling them they can't do this, you can't perform, you can't go over here, you can't come to this community, you can't come through these doors. Now we are policing each other, and I just feel like policing and rehabilitation don't work together.
So what's the goal? What's the underlying intention? What is it that we're really trying to do?
We have to remove the fear of the punitive. Like, that's why we fear the police is the extreme of what happens when we deal with police. We don't want to deal with police. Okay, so what does community accountability look like? If police accountability in you know what I'm saying, United States of America's justice government ain't the way you want to go to it, then how do we lean on community to hold each other accountable if we're gonna go against the jail system? I mean, you just do it to them anyway. When you silo somebody, when you send somebody away, when you be like, you can't be here, and they have to isolate, you're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing. Sometimes people would just give me a bid. Like, just give me the bid. They lock me up if that's going to be my sentence, because at least when I come out, my sentence is done. Or not most people, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, you get the idea that just serve your time and and then you good. Who gets to dictate, especially when we are judging people and holding people accountable in the way, when you are sentencing folks, right? Who gets to say when that person gets to come back to the community? Do they ever get to come back to the community? And I feel like in this conversation, it just sounds like we're saying they don't get to come back to the community. And that for me is a problem. Unless you force yourself back into community. Unless you say, I don't really give a shit what you think. I'm finna stand on who I am and what I am and the progress I make. I don't give a fuck what you think. pause. I don't mean give a fuck what you think, meaning like
I
if the
understand what you're
person
saying.
has done their stuff,
Mhm.
they're doing their stuff. All the ducks are aligned. I don't understand how they don't have the ability to be like, hey guys, I don't really. You could think and feel because personal relationships, but like they should be welcomed. They should be able to exist. Okay, I did my time. Why you still crucifying me? Why you still blocking me? Why you still, you know what I'm saying? And I think that happens, and I've heard, in these conversations like that, that's synonymous. Like so many people feel that way, and it's tough. And I think, I'm constantly trying to say on here, like, solution. Fuck talking about it. We're not trauma bonding on this podcast. We speak in reality. We're not trauma dumping. We speak in reality. And then we're saying, what do we do about it? What's the answer, Sway? Who, you know what I'm saying?
And, the figuring out a structure for this is tricky. People have done it in numerous ways, right? But I think that one of the fundamental things that we've seen work is this process that's called truth and reconciliation, right? So if you look at the end of apartheid in South Africa, they're like, yo, we've had all these years of this stuff, right? And not light stuff, heavy shit of people being oppressed based on skin color, economically, politically, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, in order to move forward as a nation so that there's not immediately a civil war, as soon as the people who have had no political power get political power, we need to sit down. We need to have an accounting of what happened, and not just this general accounting of, oh, there was this general idea of racism, the blah, blah, blah. No, people got to come and tell their stories. People got to be heard and understood. And like, it was put into consideration of how the next stage of what the country was going to be built. And particularly as creatives, there's a need for us to express, this is what we've seen, this is what we've experienced, so that we know exactly what it is that we're fixing. Because we could come up with some generic solution of, oh, this is a system that should work. But anything that we're designing, if that design doesn't take into consideration the people that have to live in it, is not going to be a proper design. And so the conversation is the beginning. It's the spark to action. It's how we pick the direction that we're going in, right? And so people's voices need to be heard, need to be amplified. People need to be able to come together and see, oh, snap. This was the same journey that I was on. This is the same shit that I went through. And then we can identify, like you're saying, what are the patterns? What are the cycles so that we can break those cycles and patterns that are negative? We can reinforce the ones that have been positive because, we're very focused right now on the negative things that have been happening in community, but beautiful things are happening here as well, right? So how do we get more of that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that testimony is necessary too. Like, how did y'all come together and make this
That's a fact.
thing?
But that's what I mean about the people that need to come back and be like, hey, here's how we can do this. Because of my experience, because this is how I was able to do it for myself. We need more people to share that knowledge and that wisdom. And I love that because it's so profound and it comes back to the head point of the Free Game podcast. I love when that happens. It's just so on time and
when you start out intentionally, you're going to end up where you're supposed to end up.
Like, give the game away for free. We not gatekeeping information or wisdom or spiritual knowledge or like, why are we doing that to each other? We need to stop that shit. Period. Nip it in the bud. You know what I mean? We need to go and be progressive, and we need to be able to utilize the fire that we need to use for whatever we need to use it for at this time, and also not feel
whether that's
guilty or shamed for it, or you know what I'm saying. We need spaces that will hold these truths with gentle hands and love, and also be powerful enough to push it, to push the envelope, to push the wall down, to push to break through it. Like, we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Stacey Ann Chen. I just heard played a video that she did back in 2000. I think it was 2019. And part of the video, I think it's some tsunami. Forgive me, but the tsunami was in the title of the poem, and it was really dope. And it spoke of just like there needing to be fire, not water, we fight with fire because it is what's necessary right now. The tool.
Yeah.
And I mean the energy, right? Right? The energy needs to be from the root. From the root chakra. You know what I'm saying? We need the push, the charge that people are feeling to lead, to guide us, to the people that are listening will be able to guide us. Like we have to, you know, so much needs to be done. And I guess I say all that to say, those out there, you know, with that urge or that desire, that fire that we speak of, you know, if you're feeling that in this time, if you're feeling like you don't know what to do with it, you don't know if it's the right thing to do, you know, if you don't know if it's, please gather. There's a community of folks that are like knit, are like-minded, like spirit, like energy with you. We out here. And, you know, if you can see with a capital S, we are out here. You know what I'm saying? Those that see can see. And, you know what I'm saying? We here. And we want to make space because it's going to be a powerful connection when we do get together and are able to really join forces and make change for real. Because, you know, honor and respect to those that, you know, had to leave, want to leave, don't want to deal with none of this, don't want to be a part of it, don't feel it their obligation. You're right. You're right. If you feel it in your soul that you are not obligated to do any of this work, then it's because you're not, and you don't have to, and it ain't facts. For you. But the people that feel like they want to, that they are willing, you know what I'm saying, to band together, you know, on this thing, we're here. Don't hesitate to reach out. You can follow me on IG at Phree_dumb freedom, PHREE_DOM, as I'm sure you got from the Free Game podcast. But I say that to say right now, please, 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 I am here. I do love you. I don't care we buddy or not, see you every day, talk to you. You know what I'm saying? There's an extension of love. There's an abundance of love that I'll forever have and will ever forever pour out. And in servitude, in light, in God granting me the steps or the ability to wake up in the morning. Please join us. You know, there's love. There's love for you and community. And we will work together to really make home in community. You know what I'm saying? Not just a clock in and clock out. Right now, community is like work. It's like you clock into that bitch and then you clock out. You know what I'm saying? It's not like auntie's house. We need more auntie houses. You know what I'm saying? Where we could go and be like, shit. You know what I'm saying? We going.
But auntie's house with boundaries.
What boundary? Auntie house wasn't always.
Yeah, it wasn't always.
If y'all had a cool auntie that you felt like you could go there and feel safe in, shout out to, you know, my
shout out
aunt,
to the cool aunties.
You know what I'm saying? My aunt Janet, shout out to you. Rest in peace.
And the cool uncles as well.
Yeah. I had cool uncles too.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to collect people's stories. I'm excited to understand who we are as individuals better so that we can understand who we are as a community better. I'm excited to get together with some folks that want to build some beautiful shit and build some beautiful shit. Because we can, so we should.
We gotta change the frequency. The frequency right now, especially in the music industry, we gotta change it. We gotta change it. We gotta change the frequency. It ain't vibing right now. We ain't vibing right now, y'all. I know y'all feeling it. I don't care what nobody say. I know y'all feeling it. We ain't vibing. Whether you want to say that out loud, be honest about it too. When you look in the mirror, you gotta know that this shit ain't right, man. It ain't right, man. It ain't. But anyways, that's all I got. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Jonathan, JG, my man, my partner. You know what I mean? My twin in this life thing. You did.
Hey, let's go.
You know what I'm saying? We outside. We out here. The Free Game podcast is here. I love you, Lucci. Lucci's always here. Know that. Remember that. I'm probably going to talk about him forever on this podcast because there's just so many gems that, you know, his legacy left behind. And it is going to be a rubric, you know, for me in part of this journey. So, you know, love you, Lucci. Thank you for your legacy.
Thank you, Lucci. We love you, bro.
And we out.
We gotta do it one more time.
You are now in tune to the
Free Game Podcast.
Okay. Y'all are dope.